All right, folks, welcome on back here this Wednesday, November 18th, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Welcome on back here for our afternoon meeting. Let's get a quick sound check just to begin. Make sure everyone can hear me loud and clear. There we go. Great to see the whole team here. Dave, Bill, Chuck, Michael, Donnie, Jose. Whew, you guys are coming in too fast. A lot of us joining us here this afternoon. Rightfully so. We've had a very active morning. The markets are dumping off heading into the close. So, as I would always like to say, it's a great day to follow the markets, right? So, if you're able to short, this could be a really great short day for you, at least to try and hedge your long positions, perhaps if you're swing trading anything. But otherwise, from Randy, Carson, Lewis, Kath, great to see you folks as well, loud and clear. And for all of us in social media, folks, welcome on back. Little different today. You get to see my actual trading platform myself here. So I normally just show the main trading platform that's in Cybergroup. There's been a bit of a tech issue from earlier this morning, which actually caused us to reschedule class, the Phase 1 Lesson 3 and 4 class, to be rescheduled to tomorrow. So I look forward to that. I mean, we'll be good to go for tomorrow for class. But with that in mind, long story short, I haven't screen shared all throughout the day inside our trading room because normally when I screen share with this, a little bit of a distortion. So for any one of us inside the trading room, you might happen to see that. As soon as we finish up the afternoon meeting, I know that Rich is going to take over. He'll share his screen. We'll be good to go. But nonetheless, long story short, you get my actual main trading platform today. You get all of my pre-market lines, all of my lines I lined up on the trades that I was watching leading into the open. That includes this PLTR. So PLTR, it goes to show my lining up is pretty good because you could see it ended up dropping off as soon as the market opened up. It made this great under and over move. Actually, one of our students, Michael, just referenced this. He had said that PLTR, he thought the closing bell print yesterday was at 1785. He's right. I had the lineup right there too. So you could actually see after the market opened, I'm saying it broke under 1785. It held under 1785, and then it popped right back through that level on the way up. So from there, it ended up providing us a great long opportunity to, I don't think it broke the all-time high. Did it? Let me see. Where's my cursor here with this? All right, there we go. Oh, yeah, broke new all-time high. I was looking at the red candle here on the daily chart. It's up 0.07% from the close right now, but they call it a red candle because it's closing lower from where it had actually opened up this morning. Nonetheless, though, PLTR heading into the afternoon, moving down with the market. I wouldn't mind slipping this on our list at the end. I'd, just go through everything from top to bottom first. We do really well on this trade. Typically has a tighter spread, a lot of volume on the order book. And still moderately inexpensive compared to some of the others, right? All right, but otherwise, though, obviously, as we were saying, the markets were dumping off heading into the afternoon. We did pretty good on the long side, though, for a few other trades, though. The EV stocks ended up moving back up. Two in particular, actually three, I guess. Nikola, NKLA. I didn't really do my pre-market prep on this trade, at least. This one really popped as soon as the market opened up. Not as much activity in pre-market for us to really follow. So, Fausto called this out pretty early on. Jumped into it. I think he did from around like 23, ended up taking off up towards just about 25. I know he said he was not trying to get greedy, so he got out a little bit ahead of time. Oh, actually, pardon me. I apologize. I remember this based on the shake. He got out right before it ended up making that big shake. So he ended up getting out. It was near like 25.80. And he said he didn't want to get greedy. So it moved up to 26. And then from there, just an epic collapse. Ended up dropping down towards 23.50. It squeezed all the way back up to break a new high. This thing has been through the spin cycle today, up and down. For the afternoon, still seems to be fairly active. I wouldn't mind giving this a second look either. Nikola and KLA, just alongside that last one that we were talking about, PLTR. But otherwise, again, we'll keep going through a couple more. WKHS from earlier today ended up making a big move. Another EV stock. You could see it pop from like 21.35 the low, or 21.21, I should say, the low of the day, but moved very nicely from that point, breaking above 22, kind of topped off right around 22.50 and eventually broke higher heading into the late morning. So this was one of our better plays too heading into this afternoon. Still seems to be pretty active, just pulled back. Trading in a tighter range right now, but actually as the markets had dumped off a bit further, this kind of held strong. So it would be pretty interesting. I ended up taking a small loss on this just before, actually. I ended up getting stopped out. It was right place, just wrong time. I was looking for the bounce from 22.50. I jumped in at 53, and it moved up a bit, but the volume looked a little light. So once it pulled back below 2250, I got stopped out. And then, of course, this thing popped right back up without me. So ended up making the right move I was looking for just without me there. But nonetheless, great trade from earlier today and more so heading into the late morning, WKHS. This one was moving with RIDE, RIDE, right? So Lordstown Motors, WKHS Workhorse, they're pretty much related to one another. So at least heading into the late morning, whereas those two others were moving up, this ended up pushing up with it. More of like a choppier trade though, like minute by minute, and then eventually once the volume died off, and this as well ended up pulling back. So just to keep those in mind as like EV stocks that can make a big push. Not to say this afternoon, but going into the remainder of this week, Thursday, Friday, I mean next week perhaps too. We've always followed Nikola and WKHS, not as much this ride, more so this week ride with what we've seen. So just going forward to keep them on your side list. All right, so what we'll do is go from top to bottom as usual, just down the percent gainers and losers list. If there's anything else, folks, just as I go through, if I don't look at anything as I go through from top to bottom that you would want me to look at, just type it in the chat board. That goes across the board for us in the trading room, us on social media. Ooh, look at this! I caught. How about that? I caught that early. CIIC. We talked about this stock yesterday, right? We had the warrants on this. Then go back to the regular one. This one was looking a little suspect yesterday. I didn't really like do as much heading into the afternoon. Ended up obviously gapping up. It was more like around like 10:30. I guess this was halted. Ended up reopening up, dumped off, pushed back up towards 1360, the high. Uh, it's on a tighter spread right now, but it could open up a bit. I'm going to skip over this for right now, but just day by day with the volume that it's been trading, it's definitely catching my interest more. DNK, one of the bigger pops from earlier this morning. I mean, a continuated move from yesterday. Didn't do as much for us heading into the afternoon, this stock, but then this morning ended up taking off right away. So pop from like 320 all the way up towards just about 5. Expectedly so, dumping off now, profit taking. This one's too cheap. I don't know why I clicked on it naked. KZIA, this thing's up 50%. Wow, this thing's pushing up. Notice, though, look at the difference. This is why we like to have a 5-minute chart next to our 1-minute chart. And I guess you could say the same with the daily chart, too, when needed. But, KZIA, it's at the high of the day, high of the regular session. But if you actually see here back from the after hours yesterday, it hit a high of like, what is that, like 16 plus, almost $17. So keep an eye, I mean, right around 16-ish. Not to say it's guaranteed to get up to 16, but should this keep going right now, I would only anticipate for 16 to be a really big level. If not, this exact top. I normally wouldn't look at like a tippy top like 1638 and treat that as like a major level, but given this range, if it's not the whole number, then just probably right around that price, I'd imagine. Nonetheless, though, pretty volatile, and just we'll put this on our list for right now, the main list, KZIA. I'd say the order book's a little light, so I'd rather see more volume in on this. But otherwise, though, given the afternoon push off 14, it looks pretty interesting. And the pop and drop just now from 15 looks like you had a lot of buying. Pardon me. Looks like you had a lot of buying off 15 and over 15. So perhaps if there's another opportunity to see a break over 15 again, we'll see continuation. It's funny. I kind of laid my eyes off this stock. I took half profits on it. There's only one trade I'm in right now. It's not this MFGP. It's the next one down, actually. I just wanted to look at this first. The EGY. I was not expecting this nice push here heading into the afternoon. Really, I'm not. I'm still in on 1,000 shares. I ended up jumping in. This was like from the morning, like really a level 1 stock. I jumped in at 123. It pulled down, and I ended up averaging down. I jumped in again at like 117, 118 just to average down. So I'm in from like average price 120. And for right now, this thing's a slow poke, but, it's starting to make a small little push. I'll come back to this. I don't think I'm going to put this on the main list. I knew this was around like 129, 130, but to see this now, 132, I'll take it. I don't want us to watch the grass grow, though. So I'd rather us follow stocks much like, well, FCell here. So FCell, you could see how far the stock's taken off compared to the pre-market lining up that I did. So this stock actually had a big level to watch. It was right off of this orange line here at 431, and also here at 412. Actually, 412 is the first major level in which this had broken out from earlier today. To go over this rather quickly, but more efficiently. Ended up kind of pulling back after the market opened, but kind of holding underneath 410, 412. Once it broke this first orange line, all bets were off. I would have expected an easy move up towards 430, which it did, but honestly, I thought it was going to have a lot bigger of a fight at 431 than it really made. Like, it popped the level. I left money on the table here. It ended up flying right on up without me. It's funny, I actually went short on this after. I went short on this right from 448. I took about 7 cents. Probably one of the only short opportunities on this trade throughout the day, but I thought it was going to top off. Well, it started to push back up, and it didn't really pull back down to this orange line. So I took a small profit. I ended up jumping back in long, wrote it back up. It's been a fun trade. And then obviously this thing just kept going. So, after that, I finished up personally on FCell. I didn't really trade it that much after that, really, that 450 entry. Ended up moving all the way up towards an eventual high of the day, 580. And now obviously pulling back. So I love the range on this stock. I love the volume that the stock is trading. That's causing this nice steady move on the way down, at least. Now, if I could try and load up Bookmap on the side, if I could try and see where like the next major support level is on this trade. It's actually just bounced right off the VWAP, roughly around 510, 509. $5 major support, 250,000 share order on the bid currently. If this really, really decides to drop, which I don't expect it to, but if this like freaking tanks, I would say probably right around 460 to 465 to be a major support level after. And that would be like the absolute bottom, I think, for the day today. Now, if it keeps going come tomorrow morning, I'd say, look certainly for around 460, 465. I mean, even obviously from there, 450, 50-cent level. But those are levels that I was looking at earlier with a student in a coaching session. So, for right now, still holding strong, bounced off the VWAP. Your next major support level after that is even 5. But for right now, just definitely keep an eye on this trade. All right, FUV. This had a nice little pop earlier. I saw Rich call this out before. So, it broke from almost like a Fausto flag here, roughly like a sloppier Fausto flag, but from 10 popped up to 1050, pulled back. So kind of like a, not to say pump and dump, but now you can see kind of like the head and shoulders building here off of 10, kind of dropping off a bit more. SCKT. It's funny. I was watching both SCKT and the EGY trade, hoping for that move on EGY. I'm very thankful I picked the right stock. So this one dropped off after the market opened up. Normally, after we see a stock pump up in pre-market, dump off, and will continue to dump off after the market opens, you don't always see a big push up after, but we've seen some really big runs at that point going into the mid to late morning. So, hey, I could have done on EGY here on Socket, SCKT, and this was a big bust. Right now, it's showing a little push, some buying coming in. Actually, a 51K print just got filled. Still, though, I'm not really too keen on it right now. I'd much rather this KNDI. I was actually flipping through Bookmap right before I landed on FCell. I knew that this was making the push. So KNDI, you can see also another stock I was interested in from pre-market this morning. It ended up breaking over $10 very early on in pre-market. A lot of buying came in right around 8 o'clock even. So I was led to believe that if we could see this make an under and over move from 10, it would take off. Now, I hate to say this, my freaking internet issues, my connection issues that caused us to reschedule class today, that led me to miss a bunch of trades earlier this morning within the first 10, 15 minutes. I really wasn't up and running until like 9:42 Eastern myself. So this was honestly one of my top 3 or 2 or 3 stocks I was interested in. I hate to say this, but I probably would have jumped in right from 10 or right over 10. So I made my money elsewhere, but a beautiful move off the 10 level on the KNDI. It's pushing back up to the high of the day right now, 1150, 36,000 share order on the ask at 1150 there. So looking pretty good. I like this one too. All right, cool. Let's see, just anything else on the gainer side here. We have JMIA, obviously a daily player here at this point, whether it be on the short side from earnings or the recovery over the last couple of days. And today, I mean, this thing is just pushing and pushing. So, yeah, needless to be said, we're going to put this on our watch list heading into the afternoon. I ended up jumping into this trade from the 19 level earlier on, from 19 up towards 1970. Didn't jump in after, hopeful to jump in after this meeting at least. But heading into the afternoon, it's pushing right up towards the highs. 2050, I would assume, to be the next major level. We ended up really seeing more buying off the 19 level today compared to 20. So, it's moving off of that 20 area pretty nicely, but notice it hasn't really held it too nicely of late. It held it beautifully here. But ever since, a lot of chop to it, up and down, up and down. It's actually holding 1980 as a better bottom. And at least at this point, if this can make a push up towards 2050, I'll look for more buying to come in. All right, so let's see what else do we have here. It's been a long day here, so pardon me. That was a quick water break. CDEV Express here, a couple familiar names. Express over $1. Let's take a look. Yeah, not much going on there. All right. SLCA, I remember seeing this stock trade in the past. Looks like it made a little bit of a pop after the market opened up, and not doing a whole lot here. Pola's familiar name. I'll zoom out on the chart actually here. Looks like it made a push a little bit later on going into the morning, like 10:30, 11 o'clock Eastern time. It's trying to slowly make its way back up to the highs today. You could see from 370 up to 380 now. The volume looks pretty weak here. So for right now, I'm going to pass. If it ends up popping, we'll be there to catch it in time, I'm sure. But I'd rather us focus on some of the other trades that are on our list here so far. All right, let's hop over to the losers list, see if there's anything looking just as good, if not better. And I always like to say this, but with an up market, we find more on the gainer side. With a down market, with a dropping market, perhaps we find more on the loser side. So let's see what we have here. We have Pays, shortable. Not much there. YY, pretty expensive. Oof, what the heck is happening here? You got a wicked spread right now and very expensive stock too, but I mean, that's why I wanted to at least look at it. It is shortable. So give me a quick moment. I mean, simple enough. Muddy Waters publishes a short report on Joy Inc. That's the news that's out there. I'm not going to copy and paste that across the board, but all right, so I'll put this on our watch list. I mean, it'll be interesting to see where this could potentially bounce from, to see this stock drop from $97 all the way down to 78 right now, pretty much. So I figure at some point in time, this will make for a great dead cat bounce. I would likely even say every $5 to be a strong level. $90, 85, 80, 75, perhaps you're coming up on the way down. So YY, I guess we'll just put on our list just for fun. We'll trade one share, just like Fausto says, right? This would be the stock to do it. Pretty expensive, crazy spread. All right, BYSI, Beyond Spring. New low of the day, more volume on the book here compared to the other one. Normally I would just put this on our list right away. Really, just at the lows, shortable, cheaper stock. Spreads don't seem too crazy, and they're fluctuating up and down a bit. But it's almost trading too little volume on the order book for me right now. I'll come back to it, I guess. There's a few that we'll give a second look at here, but we'll keep going. KC not doing much there. All right. Let's see. GDRX from yesterday dropped off quite a bit. This was our biggest mover heading into the close. We ended up seeing this, and actually to go back on it, because we put this on our list yesterday. So just to show for everyone just on social media, I mean, we ended up calling this out. It was right off 37. We were saying if this could re-break below 37, there was a 26 or so thousand share order on the bid, if I'm not mistaken. Once this ended up breaking down below 37, I think it took 2 attempts. But from there, the wheels fell off, right? That was our best trade of the afternoon, the GDRX yesterday. Now, at this point today, well, it's not really doing a whole lot, although it's down 6+% right now. All right, skip over this at least for right now. If there's anything else, not much that I see that's like a familiar name. Pretty interesting, though. U1K is shortable. It's doing nothing, just wanted to look at it. I mean, it's a familiar name. We've seen the stock make a pump and dump in the past. Just today, I guess, is shortable. All right. That's it otherwise, though, folks. If there's anything that you see that you would want me to call out, if there's anything that I just like glanced at quickly and said, there's not much to it, and if you think there is, let me know. Got Ed here in the cyber group room saying Sorrento, SR&E. That will catch my interest right away. Yeah, look at this. Nice afternoon move, Ed. So I missed out on this. It's not up enough to like make like the top 50. So really good call. We love Sorrento. We love trading the stock. We do really well on the stock. Normally it has tight spreads, great volume on the books. So pretty interesting. And actually most recently a big volume spike right here. I'll go back on the time and sales for this because I don't have my book map up and it's going to take actually probably longer to load book map up. 2:03 Eastern time. Let's just go back quick. Oh, you know what? Oh, no. All right. I can't go back. Freaking, this ended up updating TradeStation. It doesn't let me go back on the time and sales. Damn. Normally, it would let me go back on the tape. Well, I got one other alternative way. We could figure this out pretty fast. So notice the matrix volume bars here. Once this ended up making its big push up, you could see the high and the low, 719 to 725. My assumption would be that this was either right at 724 or right off of 720, because those are the two price levels where we see the most amount of volume in that range. So either one or the other, 720 or 724, we ended up seeing a really big spike in volume. So nonetheless, it's pulling back, Ed. I feel like this already made a big move, but it's kind of still strong. I'll slip this on our list. Keep this in mind. Put this near the bottom. So Michael M on KZIA, pick up like 83 cents. We'll jump back to KZIA really quickly. You said he got in from 1407. Well, Mike, really good entry. Looks like it popped right here. I'm assuming this is where Michael got in. And from there, fantastic payout. Really nice. Michael D picked up. There you go, Mike. You got your 10 cents back on the PLTR. We were watching that just before. All right. For all of us on social media, let me know if there's anything that you would want me to check out pretty quickly here. You do have to go back on those like 2 or 3, right? We have the I do want to jump back on PLTR really quick just to see where it's at right now. So it pulled back under and over that 1785. And look what it's doing right now. It wouldn't shock me to see this break back over 18 and make a nice push heading into the afternoon. For right now, though, this will just stay on our side list. I wouldn't be surprised if I end up entering that trade, at least heading into the afternoon. But I think that the others that are on the main list look just better so far right now. Nikola, you could say the same thing. Just a very tradable stock. It ended up making its bigger push from earlier this morning and even heading into the early afternoon. So although we've seen this stock make a big push for us in the past, I'm sure it can continue down the line, but for today, I just am going to keep this on the side list for right now. The same with my slowpoke trade, EGY. I mean, just pulled back a little bit after I spoke about it, so probably just going to pull the trigger and get out shortly after we finish up. And then the BYSI, I was skeptical of here too. Yeah, same. Not too much to write home about just yet. If there was an iceberg order to identify with on the bid, if this was approaching that iceberg order, perhaps much like GDRX was yesterday, I'd be way more inclined to like put this on the main list at least. But for right now, I'll pass. All right, so really quick for all of us inside the trading room, we had mentioned this just from earlier this morning, from the top of this meeting. We had to reschedule the phase 1 stock course. There was a big tech issue earlier this morning, so it prevented us from actually getting the PowerPoints to get the curriculum up and running. We will look to reschedule those classes same time just for tomorrow. So that leads me to say, well, you got me for the afternoon here inside the trading room, right? So a blessing in disguise, perhaps. Although we don't have class today, we will have it tomorrow. And hey, at least we have a nice day to make money heading into the close today. All right. So for all of us in social media, if you'd like to learn more about Cyber Trading University, just make sure that you first like, subscribe, notify right on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/cybertradingu. Otherwise, just do right as the link says at the bottom. Just make sure that you jump right to our webpage there, cybertradinguniversity.com/trial, to join us right here Monday to Friday weekdays here. All right, folks, for all of us inside the trading room, give me a quick sec. I'm going to refill up on water, and then I'll jump right back to it heading into the final hour here. Take care.